Hi, Cheyenne. How you doing? Okay, got your work up here. You're saying you included a couple of those extra elements for print, environment, and digital medium, so we can see where you're going. And I think it's pretty plain to see, where the direction you're going. I think that you're adding a lot of really interesting things. With that, I'm going to start going through the presentation and giving some of my thoughts. Okay, so we start the presentation. With why Budapest, which is great. Your line length is too long here. I know. Typically, right now I don't want to talk about final presentation phase 4. I want to stick with phase 3, but your character count's too long here. It's considered two column type there. Architecture and all of this stuff, you're showing plenty of images. But what I would do if in this page in your final presentation is I would definitely grid these out, and I would also think about or I would also talk about architecture as it relates to your design decisions, as it relates to the location, and how the visual solutions have come to fruition. So in other words, talk about inspiration here. How did you receive inspiration from these images, and why are these images relevant? Likewise with textiles and geography. So in other words, you're not just showing images, you're telling how they're directly associated with the decisions you've made for your branding package. Okay, imagery concept. These are great right here. Local infrastructure, geography. Now, I think each one of these could actually feasibly be a one page in your final presentation. So textile patterns, and then talk about those. Now, again, you have your textile patterns, and here you have your paragraph on textile patterns, but they're separate. So it's really difficult to try to draw some meaning from this when you have to come over here and then go back. So it would make more sense to present this in closer proximity, presumably on the same page as your textiles images. Likewise with your geography and your local infrastructure, as well as your architecture pages. Okay, so you got plenty of sketches. Logos and pictograms, these are good. Good job here. Now, the one problem I'm having from here is that we go from your 3 final logos to your graphics and patterns. Okay, which is great. I think you're really doing a nice job using graphics and patterns. But I don't know which one is your final logo. And as I continue in the presentation, the logo isn't shown anywhere. So I'm not real sure which is your final logo. So that's a little problematic. I would definitely say we need to start addressing this final logo and start cultivating that in terms of developing your 5th element with your logo. Now, the one thing that I think is another thing that I don't really understand is developing these reoccurring curvature and this kind of other 5th element stuff based on the patterns. That's great. The patterns are great, but this reoccurring curvature, I'm not real sure. It just kind of popped out of nowhere. I don't see any association with any of the particular logos. So I think it's really important at this point that you select your final logo and really start developing your background graphics and some of your supporting graphics based on that logo. That only makes sense. I think that's definitely the way that you want to go here. Print, digital, environmental concepts, that's great. Put these all in images. You've got plenty of sketches, so I'm not worried about a lack of ideas here. It looks like you've got plenty of ideas. The ticket itself, again, there's no logo, no date, no year. So that's well, actually, there's a date right there. Sorry about that, 15/2/2022. Oh, February 15th. I see what you're saying. Okay. I've been recommending to some other students that you go ahead and do a Google image search and use as your criteria, use Olympic tickets or samples or examples of Olympic tickets. I think that's a really, really good idea. I'm noticing here that pictogram is associated with the second logo, this logo. So, right? Or is it? No, this logo right here. So again, I'm wondering, is this your final logo? And if so, where is it located in some of your placement materials? Okay, and then the other stuff, like I said, I don't think there's any lack of ideas. This is all good stuff. I don't think there's much of a lack of ideas in terms of where you're going to place them, because you guys have got page after page of sketches, so I'm not worried there. Right now, I'm just a little concerned about consistency. I'm not real sure the program knows exactly what it wants to be yet. And the main reason I say that is because you don't have a solid final logo that's being featured anywhere. If you did, I could comment on, it would be much easier to comment on how the supporting graphics fit with the logo. How harmonious is the whole package based on the logo as the primary identifier, and then the supporting graphics used to identify, help, and support that main identifier. Okay. All right. So good job. Any questions, comments, concerns at all, please let me know. And as I said, next week, I'm going to start talking about your actual page structure in your final presentation. So think about designing with a grid, think about your typography and consistency in page mechanics, etc. All right. Any questions, let me know. Thanks, Cheyenne. Good job.